10 of the funniest WWE botches ever. Number 10. Montez Ford's dive. WWE superstar Montez Ford often produces jaw-dropping stunts inside the squared circle. His high-flying maneuvers often account for picturesque spots during matches. However, Ford will undoubtedly want to forget one particular dive that ended in a hilarious botch on WWE Raw. The incident unfolded in one of the pre-taped episodes. The Street Profits teamed up with Kevin Owens to take on Seth Rollins' Austin Theory Angel Garza. During the match on WWE Raw, Ford sat in the middle of the ring and screamed WrestleMania before going for a dive off the rope. Unfortunately for him, Austin Theory didn't know if he was supposed to catch Ford, and the latter completely missed the target. As a result, he crashed against the ramp, and everyone took a moment to digest what had just happened. The entire sequence of events was amusing, and fans quickly saw the funny side to the incident after finding out that Ford was alright. Later, backstage reports claimed that Seth Rollins was supposed to trip Montez Ford before his dive. However, Ford saw that Rollins was too far away and decided to go for the move anyway. Number 9. Titus O'Neil's greatest Royal Rumble slip. Titus O'Neil is one of the most respected WWE superstars today. His work for the community is widely appreciated amongst the fans. However, one of the most famous WWE moments involving O'Neil is his legendary entrance during the WWE Greatest Royal Rumble. He was set to enter the match at number 39, but no one was ready for what happened next. Titus O'Neil was told backstage that he needed to hurry up and get to the ring immediately. This led to him running towards the squared circle with everything he had, only to trip right at the end of the ramp. O'Neil's momentum took him sliding under the ring, while the rest of the arena erupted in laughter. It was one of the funniest entrances seen in WWE history, and no number of replays will ever be enough to soak this botch in all its glory. Number 8. Randy Orton's unfortunate fall. Randy Orton might be one of the most entertaining heels that WWE will ever see. He is a legendary performer who has built an envious legacy in the pro wrestling business over the last 2 decades. This time frame has also seen him craft some of the most memorable spots of all time. One such incident occurred when he was facing Kane on WWE SmackDown. During their match, the Big Red Machine tried to hit Orton with a chokeslam, but the Viper managed to escape by climbing on top of the announce table. Before that, Kane had removed all the equipment on the announce desk, which meant that the holes in the desk were wide open. Orton didn't realise this and went for a kick. His other foot got stuck in the hole and he tumbled, bringing the whole table down with him. He got right back up and started laughing, even though he showed some pain. Now that's what legends do. Number 7. King Corbin's fall from grace. Long before Baron Corbin went broke, he was a king in WWE, with a fancy crown and a fancier throne. Contrary to what he believed, Corbin was more of a King Julian from Madagascar than King Joffrey from Game of Thrones. But that would be rude to point out. Instead, we will discuss one particular botch involving the former king that even forced a laugh out of Randy Orton. This part was not shown live during WWE Raw, as it happened on the other side of the ramp. Orton and Corbin were spectating the main event from near the entrance when the latter decided to sit on his throne. Somehow the throne gave up and Corbin sunk in its depth before he understood what was happening. The commentary team started laughing while he stood in embarrassment. Orton, who was looking the other way until now, turned around and realised what had just happened. The Viper broke his character and had a good laugh over the incident alongside others near him. It is still one of the biggest highlights of Corbin's reign as king in WWE. Number 6. Rey Mysterio vs Gravity. Rey Mysterio belongs to a particular category of WWE superstars who played the same character through decades, and yet the crowd never turned on him. The masked legend of wrestling crafted a niche for himself with his jaw-dropping maneuvers, Unfortunately, Mysterio was once betrayed by gravity during a backstage promo, and the results were hilarious. The incident dates back to the time when SmackDown was still in its pre-taped era. In one episode, Rey Mysterio teamed up with Edge and John Cena to take on Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero in a 6-man tag team match. Before the star-studded in-ring bout, Edge and Cena discussed their strategy backstage while Mysterio was doing pull-ups on a rack just behind them. Despite his small stature, Rey Mysterio's weight was too much for the wooden plank that caused it to break. A surprised Cena loudly said "Holy moly" while Edge couldn't control his laughter and had to walk out of the frame. This segment was not aired on TV as WWE reshot the segment without the botch, but thanks to the internet, YouTube and Reddit, we'll never let this video die. Number 5. Sami Zayn breaks the bloodline. On the October 28th, 2022 edition of WWE SmackDown, the Bloodline and Sami Zayn storyline heated up as Roman demanded the beef between Sami and Jey Uso to be squashed right there and then. As Sami and Jey began to air out their differences, Jey would get heated in the moment and state that he doesn't care what the tribal chief thinks. As Roman went to glare at Jey, Sami would step in to calm the situation down, stating Jey hadn't been feeling himself lately because he wasn't feeling very oozy. Immediately, Reigns couldn't contain his smile, and as the others noticed, they also began to crack. Jey, who was the focus of the moment, tried his best to keep it together, even having to look away from the camera at one point, only to see Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman laughing in the background as well. Roman would grab Jey by the shoulder and say that he needs to be more oozy, unless he wants Sami to become Sami Uso. The segment had everyone in stitches, all thanks to Sami's delivery. Number 4. Big E's smacking debut. Big E is one of the most entertaining superstars in WWE today. He has conquered many milestones during his career, including becoming WWE Champion. However, during his debut to the main roster on WWE Raw, when he faced Daniel Bryan, the New Day member was used to swinging his arms violently while walking to the ring during his days on NXT. He completely forgot that WWE superstar AJ Lee and Dolph Ziggler are walking right next to him. Unaware, Big E accidentally hit Lee in the chest. It looked painful on screen, but she took the blow and shrugged it off like a champion. Number 3. Bobby Lashley drowns in confusion. Bobby Lashley has been on fire since his return to the WWE, and one of his biggest foes since his return has been Drew McIntyre. But a few years ago, both McIntyre and Lashley worked together on WWE Raw alongside Baron Corbin. At the time of the incident, the trio planned to lay out an attack on Kurt Angle. McIntyre stood at ringside with Angle in his grip, while Corbin stood at the other end with steel steps in hand. The Almighty was supposed to drive Kurt Angle into the steps, but it took him almost half a minute to figure that out on WWE Raw. In the meantime, he kept walking between Corbin and McIntyre, who were pointing at each other to instruct Lashley about his next move. He would like to erase this WWE Raw segment forever, especially since it led him to being labelled as the most confused man who doesn't know what his team wants. Number 2. Vince McMahon tears both quads. Whilst laughing at an elderly man suffering from a serious injury should not be funny, there was an exception at Royal Rumble 2005. Batista and John Cena initially botched the finish of the match by getting eliminated at the same time instead of Batista barely winning. Vince power-walked down the ramp in fuming anger and slipped when trying to get into the ring. The quads of Vince McMahon were torn as he sat in the ring unable to move of his own accord. Things grew hilarious when he still tried to cut an angry promo, restarting the match while sitting on his backside before being carried out of the ring and escorted to the backstage area. Number 1. Roman Reigns forgets his promo. Roman Reigns is undoubtedly one of the biggest superstars in WWE and the entire pro wrestling business today. He has reinvented himself as a heel and has worked on improving every aspect of his gimmick. Reigns seems to have more control over things he says on the mic now, and that was not always the case. Back in 2017, John Cena and Roman Reigns were involved in a huge feud. The two superstars were involved in a war of words on WWE Raw. Cena was throwing one insult at Reigns after another while the big dog was waiting to respond. The latter started talking but forgot his lines almost immediately. This led to John Cena delivering the iconic statement, "It's called a promo, kid. If you're going to be the big dog, you are going to have to learn how to do it." It was one of the most brutal burns handed out in the WWE ring, especially considering Roman Reigns' push at the time and how often he was compared to John Cena. As bad as it was for Reigns back then, fans loved every moment of his encounter and it's still talked about to this day. Reigns recently got his revenge when he poetically compared John Cena's in-ring work and promos to a missionary position every single night. He even mocked the 16-time world champion by yawning during his match. Reigns seems to have the last laugh now, however, as he is the tribal chief. Acknowledge that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling content.